Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word this morning. Glad you could join me for our time together and our continued conversation as we explore Scripture and what it means for us as we live our daily lives. These ancient words that become real for us, and that's really good news for us. So, as always, thanks for carving out some time to be with me today and every day. Thanks for always greeting me, saying good morning or good afternoon. Always appreciate that. Just lets me know that you're out there and still listening along this journey together. So today is daily word number 668 as we continue together. And so our scripture for this morning comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 1. So there's these lots of conversation here about rules and what we ought to do and not do, and about clean living and unclean living. And then Paul's letter to the church in Corinth, we get this particular verse, which I think is powerful and interesting for us. Now, concerning food sacrificed to idols, we know that all of us possess knowledge. Knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. We all know that knowledge puffs up, but love builds up, Paul says. These words kind of continue our conversation this week that we've been having about how to live our lives and the words that we use, and being Christian, being disciples, being witnesses, as we talked about yesterday, as the disciples were given the mandate in the book of Acts. And so, you know me well enough to know, you've heard me say it, that the political themes of several years now of greatness and of being great and the greatest of all time, people call them GOATs, the greatest of all time. You know me well enough to know that I struggle with that whole concept of greatness, because I really believe that greatness is not what we are called to. As Christians, we're called to be different than that. And that if we are great in any way, shape, or form, that our greatness ought to be used to benefit others. Now, I know that Paul doesn't use the word greatness here, but he uses the word knowledge. Now, for us, and it's been said throughout history, that knowledge is power. We could even see it on television commercials for certain products. For General Electric, for example, knowledge is power. The power to get the job done, the power to succeed in work or school, and oftentimes in our society, even the power to show that I know more than you do. Knowledge often seems to be the key to the success in life. And I understand that. And so we struggle with what that means, because, we want our kids to learn, right? We send them to school to learn. It's interesting as my little people are growing up, especially my three older boys. Boy, do they have a lot to say. And their vocabulary is expansive and large. Weston, my third oldest, was here the other morning a little after 6 until we took him to school, and he never stopped talking the entire time he was here. He has a lot to say about lots of things. And I say, boy, he is so smart. And he is really smart. His vocabulary is growing larger every single day. Now, I said to Diane, well, I wonder where he gets all his ability to talk from. And she looked at me and said, I wonder, Paw. Well, I'll take that for what it's worth. But we celebrate that kind of knowledge, right? As we should. But Paul reminds us about two things. He says, first of all, that knowledge puffs up. And part of what he means by that is the knowledge of the rules about sacrificing food to idols, for example. All this knowledge of the law, if you will. And so we have that knowledge as well. But Paul says to us that kind of knowledge puffs up. And he says to us that love builds up. Knowledge puffs up. And so, we've sometimes been said, and maybe it's been said of us, that we have a big head, or we have a large ego, or that we think we know it all, or that we are a know-it-all. And sometimes that gets in the way for us as we live our lives to really do what it is that God calls us to do. The Apostle Paul is clear that for Christians, it's important to demonstrate love. It's more important to demonstrate love than to show one's supposed greatness. Because if we show love, if we use love, if we act out of love, if we are love, and we use that love to build up, then we've done what it is that God calls us to do. It goes back really to what we talked about yesterday when Jesus said, "You'll be my witnesses in all the world, Judea and Samaria, and all the world. You'll be my witnesses." But then it goes back further. For me, when they're in the upper room on that Maundy Thursday night that we call Maundy Thursday, Jesus says, "Look, I give you a new mandate. So, love God, love your neighbor." But Jesus says, "I give you a new mandate." To the disciples gathered there, love each other so much, be about love so much that when people look at you, they'll say, they're disciples because of the way they love. You'll be my witnesses in all the world because I believe of the way you love. Paul says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. That's what really we're called to, about building each other up in love. And not just saying how great we are and demonstrate it, how our supposed greatness, but instead that we should love each other. And I think those are such critical words for us and such critical things for us to do in this world that's lacking love, that's lacking compassion and grace and mercy and peace. We have lots of knowledge. Man, it's all out there. What we really need to do is love each other in powerful ways. And so I would pray that we would take this opportunity in our lives right now, right now, to take whatever knowledge we have and use it to build each other up in love. And if we can do that, then I think we will have accepted the challenge from yesterday to be disciples, to be witnesses to the ends of the earth, and we will have accepted what Jesus said around the table in the upper room. They'll know who you are by your love. So that's the word for today. I hope it's a good word for you as we continue this journey together. Thanks for being with me always. And so, importantly, know of God's love that goes through you and the kind of love that allows you then to love. And know of my love for you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.